for Catherine. I was going to write that after the show or whatever.
Okay.
I was going to do it earlier, but I took the kids to the pool at my father-in-law's. So
sure.
And I brought my notebook there, but my sisters-in-laws were there, so I was talking with them, and it was a good visit. So I didn't get a chance to do any of that. So
nice.
But I do have stuff to write. I played a lot of it. So all right. I'll stop talking about that so we can get going.
Yeah, we're should be. I think we're live.
Are we? I think so. Hey, let's check that, shall we?
I didn't set faces. Sean is picking on me, on us
already.
Yeah, he says looking good, guys. It's because the faces are all over the place.
Nice. Oh, that sounds about right. No, I'm not. Yes, you are, Sean. All right.
All right. I need to get a real green screen or something because this fake one doesn't like the headset and my hair sometimes.
You're just a real diva, is what you are. You know what I'm saying? Just a real diva.
But the problem is, I if I were to have a green screen, I would need to have one that arches around me because
I don't know what to tell you.
Because my camera's at a diagonal.
Well, what you got to do is set up the curtain like they do have in the hospitals where it goes around like a track.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
Get a green screen curtain that goes around the track.
I still thought it was awesome when was it Sean when Sean was on when you guys switched backgrounds.
Yes, it was.
I was so confused by that episode. I got my little green screen right here though. I got my little pop up
one that goes behind you. Yeah.
Like,
on
you
the
remember
desk or on the chair
when you were in elementary school, you had like the atlas. It would just or the screen that would just drop down.
Yeah.
So he has a green screen that does that.
Sean is a pro. You know what I'm saying?
He had the green screen down and then lifted it up. So while it was showing Tim's background against the green screen, but when the green screen was gone, it's like morphed in real time to the real room. It was funny to watch.
Yeah,
he's a real pro. He puts the rest of us to shame. So yeah. Should we crack on? Yeah. Tim, do you want me to do the opening or do you want to? It's up to you.
You go ahead and do it.
Okay. You ready, Jesse?
I think so. Let me find my volumes. Okay, I'm ready.
3, 2, 1. Welcome to Nintendo Dads episode 287, recorded today, July 2nd, 2020. On tonight's episode, we're going to break down the investor briefing meeting that occurred, the 80th annual general meeting that occurred at the end of June. My note scrolled on me, so that went really bad. Plus, we're going to talk about some more games being released, and we're going to answer all of your questions and so much more. Jesse, cue the music. What is up, everyone? My name is Justin Masson. It is the day after Canada Day. I am stuffed with poutine and maple syrup, and I'm tired from riding my moose across the Great White North, looking for a pickup game of hockey while also singing Bryan Adams, Celine Dion, and the Tragically Hip on CBC because, god damn it, they're national treasures. Alongside me are two folks who are going to be celebrating their nation's great birthday coming up soon. First and foremost, Mr. Jesse Waldeck. Jesse, how are you today, sir?
Good. I plan on staying away from as many people as I can because most of the people out there are idiots.
It's a general comment. I like that. Just yep. People are generally idiots, and it's hard to segue from people are generally idiots, but I'm going to try my best. Speaking of a man who's not an idiot and can always come close to me, Mr. Timothy Alf. Tim, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm on the show. Woo!
Woo! You're back. Yes, you and I have both been absent for 2 weeks, couple weeks.
Yes.
We brought in as of last week, his appearance this week was still in the unknown.
I know, right? Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Yes. And in our absence, of course, because we are such titans of the show, we had to bring in amazing guests. And of course, I'm speaking about Roger's Base, and Sean Capri showed up as well. But mainly Roger, right? Like, we're mainly excited about him. He did a great job. So, but it was great to have a fellow Canadian on the board as well with us, of course, Sean, from a couple weeks ago. Missing in action, of course, is Mr. Marty Estes. I said, Marty, you go take a seat. You know what he said to me? He said, "Woo!"
This is for Marty, in support of Marty.
Do we not have a soundboard of woo?
I do. Give me a minute because I'm still playing the background music. Quiet. I can't do both.
Oh.
You're putting them on the spot there.
It's tough, right? Listen, you have one job. It's a soundboard, all right?
Yeah, but there's only one volume. I could have pushed woo, but it would have been woo.
Well, that's fair. Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you're going to have a bit of a woo on this episode as well. We're going to break down some of the most interesting information around Nintendo. And it's kind of been a bit of a slow week, but we'll jump into it anyways. Let's just jump right into the news, shall we? And of course, our news is brought to us over by Patreon.com. You can go to patreon.com/Nintendo Dads, whereas for as little as $1 a month, you can help us support and create amazing contests. Now, Timothy, we have some shout outs we have to do. Who are we shouting out this week?
Well, it looks like I think Boulder was mentioned last week already. So the other one that's mentioned that was new on our system here is Steven. So hopefully our system has been up to date, keeping us up to date. I feel like there's another person, but
I feel like that too. I feel like we had a couple hit our Discord recently.
Yeah,
so I feel like
I'm just gonna go to our Discord.
We had a new one last night, but I don't remember.
Yeah, we're gonna do.
Yeah, that's Zeldad, but I don't know his real name. So, but in Discord, he's Zeldad.
Yeah, we like it.
Whoever Zeldad is.
Yeah, we love the absolute amazing people over on Patreon who are supporting us, who jump in there and listen to the content, gauge an amazing conversation, support each other. We have a bunch of tiers for people to jump in at. If you want $1, that's great. If you want to do 30, that's great. Whatever's in between. And man, we are so thankful for that support. It allows for us to create amazing content.
And our Twitch followers too. Anybody who follows our Twitch, they get into our Discord and all that kind of stuff.
Tell me more about this, Tim, and Twitch, and how does that work?
Well, if they go to our Twitch channel, they can subscribe. And when they go to subscribe and follow us there, they subscribe monthly. Or if they use their, Amazon
Prime, you have Twitch Prime.
You get, Twitch Prime. And then you can follow us using that if you're not following anybody else. Or subscribe with us for free. Or a part of what you pay for Twitch. Or Amazon Prime, all these different things. Jeez. But you do that, then you also get into our Discord. So in case you're not familiar with that, but you listen to the show, and maybe you're following us on Twitch right now, hey, you get those bonuses as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Tons of ways to join our community. Of course, big thank you to everyone that supports us, not only on Patreon, not only on Twitch using your Twitch Prime subscription, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all those ways. Thank you so much for your support and love. I'm going to be very honest with you. We feel it every single week, the amount of support that you guys show us. We have people who reach out to us on a daily basis, chat with us, engage with us. Hey, why aren't you on this show this week? I hope everything's okay. We are so blessed to have an amazing community.
Lots of people in the community just reaching out to me because I had surgery last week, just checking on me, making sure I'm okay. So I appreciate each and every one of them for doing that. Even the ones who may not have reached out to me, I'm sure they were thinking of it. So, because I know how crazy life gets. Yeah. But I appreciate the whole community. I always look out for each other.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, speaking of loving and gushing our community, let's move on to the actual news, shall we? Now, we did kind of say it's been a little bit of a slow news week, but I'm going to hit off with the big thing. I think the main thing that we have to talk about. You can now swim in Animal Crossing. That's the most important thing we need to talk about right now.
That's our show. Good night. Woo.
Good night, folks. Good night. That's it. I do jest, of course. There are a couple of quick updates to make sure you are aware of. Min Min is now available in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And, of course, the Animal Crossing 1.3.0 update now went a day early live, which actually literally means you can now swim in Animal Crossing. Well, and my kids are over the moon excited for this.
Someone said that on Twitter. I thought it was supposed to go out tomorrow. I'm like, in Japan, it is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, just tons of that was kind of a nice surprise. My kids were super excited. So check that out if you have not already. All right, let's break down some of the news. Now, someone actually called out specifically. They said, "Hey, Justin's back on. They're going to talk about this," and 100% correct. Last week during Nintendo's 80th annual general meeting of shareholders, there was some important pieces of information that I want us to sit in the pocket and really talk about. So first, the Nintendo president.
Before you do, I just wanted to clarify.
Yes,
this is just it's like a normal Q&A type of thing with shareholders, not financials. Is this correct?
Correct. Yeah, we're not busting down financials. We're not busting down any of those.
Well, they didn't either, because they won't.
Correct.
Because the quarter just ended, so they won't talk about that until the end of July.
End of July, correct. So end of July, buckle up, because Justin's going to come at you crazy with numbers. Because I'm excited.
I'm gonna be sitting here with popcorn.
Right, it's going to be so good. It's a show. But Nintendo President
Furukawa.
I always say it wrong. Right? Apologizes for the Joy-Con issues. Now, the Joy-Con issues, I think we've talked about on the show a great many times. Joy-Con drift. I've had to send a ton of Joy-Cons in. I know, Jesse, you have. Tim, you've done some DIYs at home to kind of do those resolves. We have a great video on our YouTube channel where Tim actually shows you how to do that without sending them in, which is awesome. But I think, if anything, of the Switch, I think the Switch is such an amazing console, but if there is an Achilles heel to this thing, it is those Joy-Cons. And so much so that there's actually a lawsuit in the U.S. in relation to the Joy-Cons and the drift and the issues that they have about it. So I'm going to just kind of provide some context that he's actually provided. He says, regarding the Joy-Con, and I actually want to apologize here, I'm actually taking this translation courtesy of Nintendo Life, Nintendo Everything, and my Nintendo News. So this is where this reference is coming from. But he says, regarding the Joy-Con, we apologize for any trouble caused to our consumers. We are continually aiming to improve our products, but as the Joy-Con is subject to a class action lawsuit in the United States, this is still a pending issue. We would like to refrain from responding to any specific actions. This is absolutely fair. Typically, if something is currently in court or has a lawsuit, no, you can't really speak about it, right? Because you could hurt yourself more. Yeah, no comment. You could hurt yourself more. But it's interesting that he addresses. He's just like, "Hey, sorry." I don't know. Like this. I mean, obviously, his sorry doesn't magically make my Joy-Cons fixed. But any general thoughts on this?
Please understand.
Oh snap! Oh snap! Tim, what do you think of this?
It's definitely not enough. And it's frustrating, especially as someone, we all love Nintendo products and we always bragged about how they could withstand our kids or ourselves, from being klutzes or whatever.
Or striking Iran.
Bomb. Yeah, or a bomb, So it's frustrating to have to deal with this. And especially when I had to go out and buy new Joy-Cons for my son, and to see those after buying them, I think I bought them in October last year, to see them start to get drift, meaning nothing was fixed. That's the frustrating part, is why is it taking so long to fix? Why is it taking so long to, what's going on? You are getting all these problems. Why haven't we seen a updated new version call out by Nintendo? Here's our new Joy-Cons. Maybe it's because of the class action suit or whatever.
Yeah.
And they don't want to say, hey, yeah, here's our new Joy-Con because we know we had a problem, and then they got to pay for all those other ones or something, or trade in the other ones. But that's the frustrating part, is just I don't care. Just give me new Joy-Cons so it fixes the issue.
Yeah. It's not necessarily apples to apples, but it reminds me a little bit of Xbox's Red Ring of Death. Right? The console was great when it did its job, right? But the amount of problems that the Red Ring of Death caused, and the amount of financial problems that caused, right? There was a bit of a gain, or a bit of a kind of a wager of like, are we going to be okay based on these things? And I really think that the Joy-Con is that for the Switch, right? I do think, and it's not to that nth degree yet, right? We're not having whole consoles, and that's one of the things I do like about it. Is the compartmentalized effect of the Nintendo Switch. Oh, this Joy-Con's not working. Okay, put a new one on. Cool, right? And we're off the races for the most part.
Unless you have a Switch Lite.
Yeah, well, that's a bit of the rub, right? Now you're into the Switch Lite, and my wife and I have had conversations about the Switch Lite a couple times. So I thought, well, maybe I'll get a Switch Lite for travel, and she's very up to the know about this stuff as well, and I probably talk to her, and she probably ignores me for the most part, or zones me out, but here's pieces that I say. But like, that's one of the struggles that I have about thinking about getting a Switch Lite, is that I know I've had to send in, I think, 8 Joy-Cons 8 Joy-Cons have gone in. I don't want to send a Switch Lite because we also know that typically when you send a console in, you may not be getting back all your memory as well with it or your backups.
Because usually
right?
they'll they don't necessarily fix it. They just send you a refurbished replacement.
Yeah.
That's factory reset.
Yeah, so it's such a struggle, and I think if there was anything, and to your point, Tim, I would love for them to come out like when their next color variant comes out. I wanted to say new and improved Joy-Cons, and here's the other thing I want.
It'll just be new Joy-Con.
Sure, I know, but I want to see the words "and improved," right? I also want to see them. This sounds bad. I want to see those at a low cost. I want to see those at like $30 to buy 2 of them, or to buy a set, just because of the fact that like how many people have had to replace Joy-Cons or, replace them because of this. So I don't know.
So for those who need to replace it, give them a discount, or all of them would be $30.
All of them. Straight up, just take the shot on the chin, right? Drop them super low. It's kind of a bit of a goodwill to consumers.
Okay, so let me ask that same question again. Now let me ask that same question to business Justin. Does that make sense to do that for $30, or is it just? Are you saying as business Justin that they should take the hit?
Before he answers, I want to answer.
Okay, sure.
As financially. As a business, that makes more sense than fixing the problem and having to replace 70 million Joy-Con for free.
Yeah.
I think what they do. So here would be my thought, Tim. Legitimately, okay. Here's my actual thought. You create a swap back program. You can bring your Joy-Cons into any retail or a digital front, wherever you purchase them from. You don't even need to have purchased them there, and give them 2 used Joy-Cons, and they will give you a set of brand new fresh ones with the new and improved. It's a straight across swap, no cost to you. Boom, here you go.
And then,
because
then Nintendo would be eating that cost.
That's exactly
They would
right?
still have to pay the retailers for providing that service.
But as of right now, if a Joy-Con's broken, I have to go through an intake form. I then have to figure out that intake form. I then need to go to Purelator or FedEx, fill out their paperwork, which, by the way, Nintendo's eating the cost of it being sent to them by FedEx, right? They're eating that cost. It has to show up in their repair shop. They have to categorize it, index. They have to assign someone's work order to it, who has to then examine it, repair, potentially replace, and then send back. You're talking $100 Joy-Cons, right, for a set of 2. That entire transaction process, from time management, from use of people's time, from the FedEx component, is probably $50 to $60 every time. So why not just do a straight? And so maybe if that's the thing, you're like, oh, I send them off to Nintendo to get repaired. If we're in this like world that I've built, then literally your box shows back up to you in like a day, and it's a brand new. It says new and improved Joy-Cons, and it's in a brand new box, and you're like, there you go, that's it. Right off, like 2 Joy-Cons in, I'm not even going to look to replace them. I'm literally taking off the wall this box, packing it, and sending it to you.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, we've solved this episode. Good night, folks. Yes appears to be the answer.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Let's jump into some more pieces of news here. I'm going to talk about the second bullet point last. I'm just going to flip this order around. The director and senior manager of director and senior executive officer Shinya Takahashi. Man, I am bad. Says Nintendo has faced development delays due to COVID-19, but it will not affect upcoming releases. In the future, if the pandemic continues, there could be delays in the future development and releases.
So let's talk about. That tells me, so like you hear about crunch. So there's a deadline. They spend 3 months before release. They're beating the hell out of their developers to go gold at the last minute to print the discs to have a day 1 patch anyway, because they fix things post gold. But Nintendo has finished product sitting on the shelves. And they just said, okay, it's time to put one out, and then we see Paper Mario.
Yeah, and I do think so. Here's a couple ways. Like we can parcel this statement here, and I want to focus in on the following. It will not affect upcoming releases. So we can read that one of two ways. It will not affect upcoming releases, bracket, that we have announced. And what I mean by that is Paper Mario will not be affected by COVID. Right? Okay.
Right. Well,
and that logically makes sense.
Because I think Paper Mario might have been done or close to done before COVID. Otherwise, it wouldn't be ready.
Correct.
It wouldn't have gone gold a month and a half ago. Or
correct.
Yeah.
I think the other part of it that people are reading into is Nintendo, and this is a little bit of your story there, Jesse. Nintendo has their plan for 2020. They know they're going to release X game in October. They're going to release X game in November. They have those already marked. Those are, to your point, they're done. They're locked in, or they're close enough to be done that they're fine, that the delay has not impacted those, and they can release them when they want to release them. That's an interesting statement. I don't really know which one it is. There's a little bit of vagueness in relation to, are we talking about what we know to be true versus what we don't know? And that's the thing. We don't know what's coming up next. And I think this is kind of important. I put out a video this week of what I suspect is going to happen. I do predict, and you can hold me to it, and I thought it was potentially going to be today. I was wrong. We will get some type of announcement from Nintendo before July 17th. Because July 17th is when Paper Mario comes out, and they have no other game dated after Paper Mario. They have to tell us what to get excited about, what we need to be spending our money on. They cannot have a blank space, right? This is hype cycle. They are probably not going to do that communication the week of Paper Mario because that's a clean communication cycle, right? That 5 days leading up to it, we need to promote it. What they will most likely do, I believe, is that next week we will get a communication from Nintendo. I also believe it will be in the form of Twitter. It will not be a Nintendo Direct.
Or
it will be
PR.
a tweet.
And a PR.
It'll be a PR blast for all of us. Plus, it'll be a tweet with a link to a YouTube video or whatever it is, and it's going to be the latest yada game.
It'll be exactly what we got for Paper
Mario, and I suspect that game will be revealed, will be available to play early to middle of September, and that's a 2-month cycle from now because they're all about keeping really close and small hype cycles, and they're about telling us this game is available or it's ready, it's available. Right? They're going to keep that really tight.
And then if they say it's available for pre-purchase today, again, they're releasing it the day it goes gold.
Correct.
Who else does that? No one.
No. It's like, hey, let me tell you about Cyberpunk for the last 5 years. Right?
That's been delayed 4 times.
Yes, exactly. Right? So
what was released in April for Nintendo? Was there anything
Nothing.
Released? It was at the end of March, it was Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
And then we were looking forward to Xenoblade.
Xenoblade was the end of May.
Now and then Clubhouse Games.
Yep.
In June.
And then now July is. Was there anything else in June? There's nothing else in June by Nintendo, right? So July would be the Paper Mario game.
Correct.
So, okay. As I'm trying to think if they're going to release something that could be a port or something in between, if they're trying to do the every month thing still, or if they're going to skip the month like you're thinking in September.
I think they're gonna skip August. I think you're going to get a Nintendo Direct at the end of August, and that Nintendo Direct will be the first one of the year, and that is going to blow out their plans for the back half of September, October, November.
Yeah.
That's
which
going
would
to be,
include new Nintendo Online, whatever.
Yep, correct.
They're gonna do.
Okay. That's gonna provide us that insight, and I think that's where the rubber's gonna hit the road. And so the other nice part of that is, so they're gonna give us that information about 2 weeks before the other game that I predict is going to be announced is out, right? Because now they're like, hey, we're just about here to this game. Now I need to tell you what's on the horizon. Nintendo's not showing us what's on the horizon. Nintendo's showing us like what's literally the next town, right? And that's a different methodology for them. So I think that's what they're going to do. What do you guys think? Am I crazy? Am I just like conspiracy theory nut job here?
No, I do like the idea that there's probably something. I have a feeling too that there's probably something on the shelves. Well, I think that's what you were saying, Jesse.
Yeah,
Is that,
I think I think they either have games on shelves ready to release or really close to it.
and I think that anybody would probably ask us the question, or I would if I was listening. Like, okay, maybe next episode or even this one now. What games do you think is on the shelf?
And
So
that's the $1 billion question, right?
I think probably Metroid Prime trilogy, right? We always been speculating that. We saw a lot of smoke in regards to that, so potentially that one, that um, mythical Pikmin 4,
Yep.
or even a re-release of Pikmin 3 on the Switch.
Yeah.
A port there. So I'm
Yeah,
sure
I
there's
don't.
other
I
things.
don't think it's going to be the Mario collection that everyone has been toting about.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be. I do think if it's going to be something, it will be something like either something we've never thought of or heard of. But I do think like that where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah.
Right. The Metroid port, the Pikmin 4. There used to be not only the Metroid port or Metroid Prime trilogy, but there was also that rumor for a while of the Metroid, 2D Metroid.
Yeah.
Right, so that one also is a little bit of like where there's smoke, there's fire. I think if we go back to like early December, January, when we started hearing about what we might hear in 2020, that's one that's been very rumored about a lot.
Yes.
I think that Nintendo's Nintendo Direct, they need to put like an anchor game in November, right, or the Black Friday. And I think what sells really well, obviously Pokemon. It's not there though. It's going to be a Mario title. I think that's where either a Super Mario Odyssey 2, a Galaxy 3, or this like deluxe, not a deluxe edition, Super Mario, All Stars or 3D World is going to land right there, right in that pocket. Yeah.
Mole says Codename Steam 2.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's exactly.
But that also brings a good point that Bowser, and I always mention this every time I mention it because I'm hoping to hear something. Bowser did mention something about 3DS games being ported over to the Switch, that they were working on something. My hope is, of course, another Metroid game, the Samus Returns game, to give it its due.
Yeah,
since it was released at the end of 3DS life for us Switch owners.
Yeah, in our Twitch chat, Super DeFast says would kill for Samus Returns port.
Yes.
Yeah, I do think there's a possibility of that as well. So it'll be interesting, but I do think I thought it was going to be this week. I think maybe because of the holidays, potentially not. But I think next week we're going to hear something. Now the other part of it that it could be something. Now here's the other part of it. It could also be something that's not a game. And so what I mean by this is that in the past, when it was the Wii U era, Nintendo announced the NES Classic and the SNES Classics in July when they were having a down year with the Wii U. This could be the Game Boy Classic. This could be the Nintendo N64 Classic, if those are true things and exist. I would say that would also put it in that September timeframe. I don't believe that's what it is, but what I'm saying is it could be more than just it might not just be a game.
I thought there was an article somewhere in regards to the classics not being a thing anymore because of Switch doing so well.
Nintendo essentially said that. Nintendo was like, sure, we're good.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we're not going to do that all the time. You don't need to ask about it. They did it in the sake of the Wii U because the Wii U was struggling.
Right.
Right.
Which is why I'm thinking that this Nintendo Switch Online stuff, the big announcement there would be the next, even though they haven't done a lot of Nintendo Switch, or excuse me, Super Nintendo releases, they need to do more of that. Maybe there's some announcement behind that, but maybe the next evolution is the Game Boy collection, or the next system or whatever. So
I fully believe that when Nintendo finally has their actual Direct, we will have gone through what I have called the drought to just being like drowning in content. I think from them. Jesse, what do you got?
Don't have anything.
Cool. Awesome. All right. I love it. All right, so that actually kind of falls into our next component. And the president also mentioned, Nintendo president also mentions about Nintendo Directs. We feel Nintendo Directs, and this is very important, Nintendo Directs are an incredibly effective way to present information directly to our consumers in a very straightforward way. Inversely, times change, and so do the most effective ways to promote products. So there's a chance that a new, better way to present this information comes about. So we always like to examine all the possible ways to communicate this information to customers.
It'd be
Good
interesting
job,
to see what
Dan.
he's got
Good
in
job
mind.
guessing.
Especially since how many other companies now, including Sony, are ripping off the direct format.
Yeah, I think so. Yes. So let me say this. I think this. I talked about this a while ago. I said, is it the fact that everybody's copying the direct that they now say I don't want to do the direct? Like Devolver Digital. Like here, I'm going to spoil a little bit of a news bullet here. Devolver Digital has said that they are having a direct on Saturday, July 11th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you look at their title card, I swear to God, it looks like Nintendo actually made the title card for them. Right? Everybody has picked up on this methodology, is applying it, and now it doesn't become special. And I think Nintendo has to pivot. I think there's a couple things. I think that they could do this whole, hey, here's a tweet, here's a link to a YouTube thing. I think that the change in the Nintendo Ambassador program might have something to do with this.
Yeah, and there's that, and there's also, I think, well, let me ask you guys this. Did you watch the Smash Brothers one that, what's his name did? The director of the Smash Brothers.
Oh, Sakurai. Yeah.
When he did that one, how it was in his home, it was just him, the creator. You know, it wasn't necessarily directish, even the directish type.
It was still the same formats that he had done before. Just happened to have been in his home this time.
But that's what I mean is more and more. I mean, he's done that, and obviously they had to do it at home. If people are liking how that's done, do you think that's a possibility of doing it that way going forward, where it's not so much here's a dump of all what we're working on or coming out in the next few months, and maybe they still do it like he said. You know, maybe there's still one that goes with what you were saying, Justin, about here's what we got planned for the end of the year in a direct. Yeah. But then throughout the year, there's those single game ones still, and I know they've done that in the past, but there's just single game ones that are more like Treehouse focused in a way, you know, because a lot of people like Treehouse stuff.
I have a theory. Follow me on Crazy Town, right? Okay. And feel free to tell me when to get off Crazy Town. But today, Ubisoft revealed Hyperscale. This is their Battle Royale Neo Cyberpunk game. And what they did was head over to Twitch and watch the information about it. So they had provided early access to a bunch of streamers and said, here you go, play it and go around and take a watch of it and have people join in. And this is actually the same thing that happened to Apex Legends back in 2019. And I know you're saying, Justin, honest to God, get off the Apex Legends train. All right. But this is exactly what happened. It shadow dropped. But what happened was a bunch of streamers got early access to it. And they said, come watch my channel, come watch my channel, come watch my channel, and you'll see this new game. What if Nintendo uses the brand ambassador program, weeds out the ones they don't necessarily want, and focuses on a very specific few and says, you are now our channels of influence? And what I mean by that is, could you imagine Roger, good friend of our show, Roger's a great example of this, puts out a tweet, join me at 9 a.m. Friday for a brand new reveal of a Nintendo game coming next month. And everyone's like, what? Right? And Nintendo promotes it. What? And they have early access, the beta key to it, whatever it is, and they're showing it and you're watching it, and it's that live reaction, live let's play through the system. Now, it doesn't answer like about, because Nintendo directs you the like, here's 5 games in like 30 seconds, right? It doesn't resolve that. You could still use Twitter for those things, but like the big tent poles or big games that you really want to promote, that maybe you've got a developer who's helping with, maybe you've got a special relationship with a third party. There you go, right? You're using social channels or influencer channels to maybe catch a little bit differently. I'm going to stop talking. And let me ask you, do you think I'm crazy? Also, chat, let me know. Do you guys think I'm nuts? Is this a crazy idea? Go.
I think, where do we sign up to get on that list, essentially, so we can help, promote stuff. But
And
Here's
despite
here's
the
how we
fact
do it.
that we always thought you were crazy.
Yeah, here's how we do it. If you have Amazon Prime, please subscribe to Twitch.
right? Yeah, we need to get back
You
there.
build that base.
So, but I like the idea, and since it's been done and it's building up, maybe that is what Nintendo's doing. So I don't think you're on a crazy train. I think it's a good way to look at it, but I am trying to look at it as well. Where does Nintendo? Obviously, Nintendo, I hope, is looking at data, which we think they do, because we see some of that data come out every now and then in their information. But the data that says how many of our gamers are also watch the streams, watch that kind of stuff either on YouTube or Twitch or whatever else, and is that where our marketing is going to go? Obviously, their marketing is going to be spread out to reach all different areas, but there's a marketing for those people who are always going to be on Twitch. There's going to be marketing for those who are in the Twitter stuff. So I can see a few people groaning like, oh, I don't want to go to Twitch. I don't use Twitch. I don't want to watch that kind of stuff there, or go to YouTube. While I'm working, it could happen in the middle of a day, type of thing. So unless they do it later on in the night or on a Saturday or something, but still, it's like, what we saw some comments about the not Ubisoft one, the Devolver one. They're doing theirs on a Saturday, right? Some people were already talking about, I think Nick was one of them, from our Dad Crossing show. He was mentioning how that's on a Saturday. I'm not going to stop what I do with my family on a Saturday just to watch something about video games. So for us as dads, as families, how does that work for us as opposed to the 20 somethings who maybe not have to worry about that kind of stuff?
Yeah. Well, I think it's the same solution or the same problem that you'd have now, Tim, right? Like if you're at work and Nintendo Direct drops, and they've done those things before.
Yeah.
Right.
Then you're just like,
all right, I'm just gonna have to watch it later.
But
right.
And I think that's FOMO thing.
Yeah. Right. So I think that kind of solves that. You just have to watch. You just have to catch the information later. Right. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think that I like that idea, and I think it would work well with like online competitive games like Pokemon Unite, Ninja, Splatoon, ARMS, etc. But for something that's more single player focused, like a new Mario or a new Zelda or a Metroid, I don't think that would work as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like I couldn't imagine they're like, all right, awesome guys, let's watch Xenoblade. And you're like, oh,
more turtles for Marty.
Right, like it's just that's not a great idea. So I do think that there's some wiggle room. It'll be very interesting to see what they end up doing. Judging by the statement, I think they're looking to pivot. And I don't know.
Yeah, I think it goes along with what Dan, another member of our Dad Crossing show, has been predicting since February, I think. Maybe even early or late last year, where he was saying he thinks Nintendo is pivoting. We just didn't see it yet, obviously, because of COVID. Maybe it slowed things down. So, and it also goes along with what I've been predicting, that there's something up Nintendo's sleeve that maybe it's part of that. Because I've been feeling since the beginning of the year, or since not the beginning of the year, but ever since the direct slowed down and we were waiting for something at the beginning of the year in January, February, and we weren't getting anything. It just more and more I kept feeling that there was something big going to happen, and then COVID slowed it down. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm enjoying it, but at the same time, I'm just like a lot of other fans who are like, hey, I want more information. I want to know what I'm going to be buying in the fourth quarter, of this year. So I want to know what my favorite company or publisher is doing. So got a lot of passionate people doing that.
Andrew from Nintendo Pals podcast asks, given the long drought with no directs and recent shadow drops like Paper Mario, it seems Nintendo is experimenting with different marketing and communication strategies. So my question is, if you ran Nintendo's marketing, how would you do it? How would you do it? Gentlemen, I'll jump in this first because I threw it at you. I think you go back to the direct. But I think you also lean into these ideas as influencers, kind of pitch I did there before. Yeah,
I hope they don't 100% do away with the directs. I understand, reducing them and doing other things. That's fine. But, I think the directs have been effective and people get, even though they only give like a 24-hour notice if we're lucky, they generate hype really quick and a lot of disappointment afterwards for people not seeing what they want. But that's half the fun of this.
I'm going to change my answer. I'm going to say they have a standing monthly communications show.
Like Nintendo Minute, but better.
Yeah, but a lot better. So it's like the second Tuesday of every single month, we release a what's coming up this month that you need to be aware of. Or what's coming up in the next 2 months. Do you know what I mean? So they're like, in September, here are the things we're promoting. By the way, here's an update. Bam. And that's it. And it's like a monthly standing event every time. You know just to tune in for it.
It's not like they don't already have platforms like a podcast and a YouTube channel.
Fireside chat. There you go. Yeah, fireside chat. I like that solo something.
Well, you were talking about we were just talking about how possibly using the content creators to do stuff, right? Content creators have already been, like us, have already been taking that information when they go to announce that there's a Nintendo Direct coming. And if it's like a week ahead of time, if we get it during the show before the Direct, we'll talk about that. Mm-hmm. So we're already building hype for that. And then after we watch it and have it and do a show about it, we're building up, what we're seeing, what's coming and whatever. So there's hype being built around a Direct, which I think this is another important reason why they should still do Directs, maybe 2 or 3 times a year. Because one, I'm guessing they would still have that Direct presentation for E3 or E3-like event. And then they always like to do something later on for the end of the year, what's going on there. And then potentially, in January or February, do another one to say, hey, this is what we got coming up for the spring. So I still think those are still good, but there could be that something.
Maybe it's quarterly.
We don't even know.
Maybe it's
a new thing.
Yeah. I like it. Yeah, I see a lot of good stuff here coming in the chat. Third strongest mole, Lavaside chat with Bowser. Super DeFast. I really hope it doesn't come out as a podcast. LOL. Thank you very much. One must calculate though the amount of hype built must equal the quality of the delivery, or the mob follows. That is right. I think that is a problem. And Solo, something great point. I do think that is the problem that Nintendo has got themselves into for not having a real direct, an actual mainstream direct in 2020. When that one comes, the expectation meter is like up here. It is going to pop off. And unfortunately, there's no way that Nintendo is going to be able to meet that expectation. Right? This is the same thing as like Pokemon's like, hey guys.
And that didn't happen.
Yeah. Pokemon's like, hey guys, come back next week. We got something really cool. And everyone's like, oh my God, it's Pokemon. Let's go, Johto. Ah! Right? And they show up and it's like, hey, we have a MOBA and it's Pokemon. Aren't you excited?
A MOBA from Tencent.
Like, so you're like, no, that is not what we expected at all. But again, this is the problem of a little bit of problem of like fanboy culture, internet culture. There's a whole bunch of other problems in that is not the fault of Pokemon Company or Nintendo, but the reality of what the situation is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. I'm ranting. I apologize. We're going to move on, shall we?
Sounds good to me.
Let's talk about talk about a couple other things happening. I did say, guys, there wasn't a lot of news, but a couple things you need to be aware of. Some game announcements to make sure that on your docket. Tim, what's on our game announcements?
Well, we've got a few games here that were expected and unexpected. So expected, Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2, July 10th is coming. A lot of people looking for that because Curse of the Moon was probably most people's favorite over the actual Bloodstained game, Ritual of the Moon Night. So so a lot of people are looking forward to the second one of that. Azure Strike Gunvault 3 was announced to be in development. And that was 2, I think, was on one of the launch titles for the Switch. So I'm sure a lot of people look forward to that. And Justin, you said you played one of the Azure Strike Gunvaults.
I believe
right?
I played 1 and 2 actually. I think I played them on the 3DS. I know I played 1 on the 3DS. I believe I played 2 on the 3DS.
Cool. Crisis Remastered is in the eShop, listed as being released as July 23rd. And then we actually got announcement for new Wii and Wii U games coming this summer. Shakedown Hawaii is coming out on the Wii and Wii U, which is, I guess the Wii U version will launch on Thursday, July 9th at 10 a.m. Pacific time or 1 p.m. Eastern time or 6 p.m. UK for $30 USD. And it's listed as limited 3,000 copies. And if you subscribe to vblank.com email notifications, you'll be able to get that for those physical owners, I believe. But because of, I guess, issues I read into this, issues with developing for the Wii, and this is the Wii and Nintendo Europe version only, I guess, that you can get the physical copy for.
Yeah, because the Wii is a region lock system.
Yes. So
importers beware.
In order to do Nintendo of America version, he had to create a Wii U version, which will be out in August, and there'll be more details to come about that. And there'll also be a Steam version as well.
Now, Shakedown Hawaii is available on the Nintendo Switch. It came out in May of 2019. Yes. I did a Let's Play for it, I believe. I thought it was okay. It was okay. It was also available on the Nintendo 3DS as well. So it sounds like they're really trying to get this out on every system.
He likes the challenge from what I read, and when I was reading the developer notes or the notes about this, he likes the challenge to see what he could do, what it'll take to get that game to run on these type of systems. And he saw he was able to do it.
So with the Wii is we crunched the game small enough to fit. Well, I guess if it's on a disc, it doesn't matter because it's not WiiWare because that's dead. So I guess it was very fascinating. So I guess they have a 9 gig limit, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And then also Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered Edition Lite will be coming out, and it's similar to the demo of Clubhouse games. This lets people connect to a game hosted by someone who has purchased the full game. So getting more of those DS download type play games that we've seen in the past. Players can play first 3 dungeons for free with this download Lite edition, single or multiplayer. Any save states from the Lite version will carry over to the paid version, and it releases August 27th, 2020. And one other note that I didn't put down in here that I forgot to put down is it's not only going to be on the Switch, but it'll also be on PlayStation and mobile devices and is cross-play compatible.
Okay, I did not hear it was cross-platform, so that's cool.
Yes. So I thought that was pretty cool. Cool. And then we already talked about the Animal Crossing update. So
yep. Animal Crossing update. Game Informer writes. This is our next quick news item. We've got a couple more, and then we're going to jump into some hot questions. So Game Informer writes that the Atari VCS units to Indiegogo backers will be shipped in October. Jesse, this is what you picked up, right?
Yes. And
you're excited about this?
I am kind of concerned now, but I was excited for it when it was during the campaign. But with all the delays and just getting more information about Amico than VCS, so I'm looking forward to getting it, and I'm planning on doing unboxing of both systems and some and other Let's Play videos on both. But my hype level for the VCS is less than what it was 2 years ago, Because this was originally supposed to be released like last spring, and then it's just been delayed at least 3 times.
Yeah, exactly.
And now both systems are scheduled to be released sometime in October. So it's like a literal race now. Who reaches my door first?
I like it. So, guys, keep up to date with the Atari News Minute with Jesse. It's going to be his newest and latest podcast series where he just talks about the Atari and what's happening with it. We mentioned before, Devolver Digital has a direct coming up on Saturday, July 11th. Jesse, could you be so kind as to pull up? I believe we have another conference coming up right away, and Ubisoft, I believe, is July 12th. We have something on the calendar, I think. Bear with me 1 second.
12th or 17th.
12th or 17th, I can't remember. There is a lot of content. I suspect Ubisoft. We're gonna have a conversation.
Yeah, there's an
next
Ubisoft
week.
Forward at 3:00 Eastern on the 12th.
12th, yes, the day after Devolver. So next week, folks, we're going to spend our theory talking about, hey, what might Ubisoft be showing that might have something to do with Nintendo? Spoiler alert, Hyperscale, the game they showed today, not currently for the Nintendo Switch. Boo. Also, watching it run, not a shock. All right. And our last kind of commentary, I don't have much more on it. EVO 2020 or EVO Online 2020 has been canceled. You can quickly Google why, but essentially, people suck. That's why.
Yeah. I don't know the details, and I kind of don't want to know the details. I just know someone did something, and it caused the games themselves to withdraw from the event to the point where the event didn't have games left to play, so they had to cancel the entire event.
Yeah, I think as we've, if you have been paying attention to the video game industry over the last 2 weeks, a lot of stuff has come out about companies, individuals, perhaps streamers that you're a fan of, that I would say people suck. And just be good to people, right? Just be a decent, good person. That would be awesome. And we should not need to have that lecture in 2020. But I think if anything, 2020 has showed us that. And we need to be better for everyone. Speaking of
Justin,
yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, but maybe this will be a good time for, I forget what you called it in the past, but you did like a dad talk type thing video. Maybe it's time for another one of those.
Maybe it's, another dad talk video
dad talk,
about why you shouldn't be a jerk.
Yes,
it's a
I
good
think
point.
It's time for another one of those.
Okay, all right.
Such a video is a timeless video.
Yeah, nothing like getting scolded by a 40-year-old gentleman. Seems to make sense, right?
Yes.
Speaking of cancellations, I do want to throw a couple things also out there that are not on the docket, but are on the old noodle here, folks. PAX West the live show has been officially canceled. They are moving to a digital event or a digital conference, which I believe is free. I believe we have to double check that. So you can attend, you can get tickets. It's a weekend event. So check that out. PAX West has gone digital, so it's PAX Online. EGX, one of my favorite events when I was living over in Ireland was to go over to EGX. I got to hang out with Gary and some of those lads, the guys from Switch Island, have an awesome time. This is a big, huge event for Europe. Has also been canceled. They are now, I think they're going online as well. And I think we recently heard that Gamescom has been canceled, but they are going to actually be going digitally. They're going to do like a Gamescom digital. So some of these, again, massive gaming events that people came to, not a shock, have now decided to not have the event in person and to go digital. What this means for the future of when people can come back together. Will we see PAX come back? Will we see EGX come back? Don't know. It's very tough to say. If you have the opportunity to attend these events digitally, carve them out of your calendar. I think some of them are either you can get a digital ticket for like $20 or it's free. Just such an awesome opportunity. Obviously, it's not the same experience, but if you get a chance, do attend if possible as well. I'm very much thinking about trying to attend the PAX West virtual one. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is doing all right. You doing okay there, Tim?
I'm doing great.
Good. Ebicel asks in the chat. So doing okay, Tim? Doing okay.
Yes. How are you doing? You doing okay?
I'm doing well.
You
Thank
good?
you for asking. I feel like
Was
I've talked
Canada
a
Day
lot.
pretty good for you?
I ate a lot of poutine. Like legitimately, I ate a lot of poutine. We had a poutine bar, like a kind of a buffet where we just made like a bunch of fries
Nice.
and we made some gravy and then a bunch of cheese and a bunch of other toppings, and you kind of threw it on there. And that was kind of our meal. But
Jesse, I'm kind of upset he didn't invite us to this, to this
Yeah.
thing.
well, you're not even allowed to get a cross supporter, so I can invite you all you want.
All
You
I
can't
gotta
even
do
cross
is tell
support.
him I'm going to Alaska, like you said.
Right, I know. Right, and then yeah. So I was very full this morning still. My wife also made homemade butter tarts, which are amazing, and then homemade Nanaimo bars, which
I have no idea
had
what those are.
Bailey's in it. Which I don't even know where to start with you.
Disgusted. I am so disgusted that we weren't invited to this, Jesse.
I know it
I'm
was
so...
good. Lots of mayo. No fried cheese. Yeah, poutine is fried cheese curds with gravy. Yes, on fries, cheese curd and gravy. It's a delicious thing.
It is very delicious.
Yeah,
I always get that when I go to the mall in Windsor.
Yeah, I mean it was good, right? So
All
there's
the
actually a fries place there in the mall where you can get poutine.
Oh no, like almost every Canadian fast food place, it's on our menu.
Yes.
Yeah.
Solo says, as a healthcare worker, I will not ruin the fun.
No, that's fair. Again, Solo.
Yes.
Canadian healthcare system. What do I got to worry about?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, just hook me up and take the gravy out of my blood. Let's go. Yeah. So.
Yes.
I had them all over Edmonton. Very true enough. Yeah, it's awesome. You're close to
Maple
my
syrup mousses.
There has to be a place in New York to get NYC to get poutine. Oh, there have to be. Nothing but love for you guys. Oh, thank you. You guys are so kind. Appreciate that. Oh. All right. We're going to jump into this. Tim. You asked a question last week. I wasn't here.
I wasn't here either.
Neither of us were here, but there's a question you asked.
I put it in the notes because I knew I wasn't going to be here.
This is a follow-up from last week's question.
Yes.
If there was a Nintendo Dad's Video Game Hall of Fame, which there should be, what first 6 games would be inducted, one for each dad and from a special guest? Tim.
And this is where Jesse usually plays a Let's Discuss music, right?
That's a good point. If he had a Let's Discuss button. You know, the problem was I scrolled through the page and it was the last, Let's Discuss is the last line there, and I just kept going.
Yes.
I was also drunk on the idea
you were
of
on a
poutine.
roll. Yep.
I feel like I talk way too much. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's true.
So yes, that is a question I threw out there because of the 2020 World Video Game Hall of Fame stuff that was brought up last week. And I thought, and I think we talked about this before, about doing a Nintendo Dad's Video Game Hall of Fame thing.
Yeah.
But
well, I think, and again, that's why we have Patreon, is because we've got a lot of land that we have now bought with our Patreon money. We're building an actual building, right? And
yes.
That's again, if you have Amazon Prime, you have Twitch Prime. Subscribe to help us build a Nintendo Dad's museum. Come on, people.
The reason why we haven't built it is because we're constantly arguing about whether it should be in the U.S. or in Canada. So,
and Gary's like, no, guys, we should have it over here in England. Come on, chaps, let's go. Chip. And I was like, I don't know. That's too much for you.
We could always find a spot that's, right on the border.
Bermuda. We should go to Bermuda. That feels like...
Oh.
Also, I'm sure there's some tax laws we can avoid.
Sounds like a whole bunch of bad ideas, but okay.
So, but yes, it was in regards to that. And I think, we could potentially do something on our website, where we could put these things we decide to do or actually put a vote on it. But for fun, for now, Nintendo Dad's Video Game Hall of Fame, what would be your first 6 to be inducted? And one for each Nintendo Dad and any guest that we have. And it could be one of those things that we do where we build a list from the guests and they can add one every time or whatever. We figure out the details later. But we got Jesse's, which was Donkey Kong's 1981. Marty's was Mega Man 2. And Roger was our guest. He put in Super Metroid. I also, and what you guys talked about last week, I put in and they said Legend of Zelda A Link to the Past for Super Nintendo NES. I didn't put the reason why. The reason why for me is it was the next evolution of the Zelda games. So I felt that should be the first inductee into the Nintendo Dad's Video Game Hall of Fame, from my point of view. It could be some bias too, because it was the first Zelda game I ever beat. So, and it's also on a system I really like, and have nostalgia for. So, but who cares? My vote is for that. So, so I threw that into the ring. Still would love to hear what Gary has to say, but I don't think he's had the chance to respond yet. So,
no. All right. So, what would be my answer? What do you guys think my answer is? Chat, play along. What do you think my answer is?
I'm trying to think what you like.
Donkey
I already
Kong
said
Returns.
Donkey Kong. Yeah, DKR might be one. Someone
Yeah,
said
that's-
Garfield Kart.
Because you got the Donkey Kong character, so I figured it would have to have something to do with Donkey Kong.
Yeah. So I think that was probably my gut. Like when I first heard this, I was like Donkey Kong Country, and then I sat, and this entire week, Tim, I sat in my office just like this for 24 hours straight every day.
That makes for good audio.
It really did. I was like, that is sucky audio. And I thought about it. And I think, although Donkey Kong Country would definitely be there, I think for me...
Maybe the next ballot, maybe.
Yeah.
Sounds like. Okay.
It would be Super Mario 2.
Okay.
Because I think that Super Mario 2... I have emotional connection. We've talked about this before. But Super Mario 2 was such an odd game, right? In the series.
I'm presuming you mean
Doki
Doki Panic / Super Mario USA.
Correct. Super Mario USA Doki Doki Panic, right? How that game came to fruition, what happened, why it occurred that way, how it is such an odd game comparatively to everything else in the series, right? Because then you look at Super Mario 3, and like Super Mario 3 like corrects the ship, and basically then we go in to every other Super Mario game after that, and it's like brilliant, right? And we have the introduction of some of the attributes of characters like Luigi, who before Super Mario 2 didn't have a different jump, right? You got these things. You got the introduction of Toad as a playable character. You got the introduction of Princess Peach as a playable character with her kind of like flutter, right? So some of the attributes that we nowadays easily associate with the characters came from that game because of the skin that they put on top of it, right? So there were these changes, and so it became such a fundamentally important game, and such an odd game also because it was designed specifically for an audience, because it was the original Lost Levels was too hard for the American audience, so they had to go find another. Like it is such an interesting game in regards to kind of the path that found itself there. So yeah.
It's a good pick. I like that one. It's a good. I can see us building the section in our Hall of Fame for that would have that whole story documentary behind that game and stuff like that. I could see that. That's really cool.
Okay. All right.
I always thought it was funny that when our version of Mario 2 was released in Japan, they named it Super Mario USA.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. There's even a story behind that too, isn't there? Because they weren't going to bring that version over, weren't they?
I don't know. When I think they got it for the first time the same time we got Lost Levels for the first time during the Super Nintendo collection.
The All Stars.
Yeah. Super Mario All Stars.
Nice. Great question, Tim. Thank you. I appreciate that. We should build what our digital Hall of Fame looks like. How do we build? Can we build that? Can we build that on our website? And then people can like walk in a door and it opens. It's like.
Yeah, I don't have the developer skills for that, so.
Come on, Tim. You're killing me here. You're killing me.
God, I don't have the developer skills for that, and I've been a developer for 25 years.
This is why we can't move forward with any of these things. It's why I have to look for a brick and mortar building for us folks.
If
for an
if I
actual.
do one, it's gonna look like a 1990s internet page. If I do one, so
That might also be amazing. Amazing. Hey guys, speaking of amazing, let's talk about what we've been playing. Mr. Waldeck, let's go to you first, sir. What have you been playing?
Here, I thought John was behind me or something. The way you said that.
I see. Yes.
But so I'm glad you finished that last name.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right, so I played through Shantae and the Seven Sirens. It's a relatively short game, relatively easy game, but for what I wanted out of it, that's exactly what I wanted out of it. I didn't want a game that was like Donkey Kong Returns level of difficulty, and I've played all the previous Shantae games. I haven't ever finished any up until Half Genie Hero was the first game I actually finished. And I thought Half Genie Hero was more platformy than Metroidvania, so I forgot the game kind of had Metroidvania roots. This game is a Metroidvania. It's you can see the map being drawn as you play, and there are certain areas locked off until you get abilities, so just like that. And I enjoyed it.
I'm going to add this to my wish list.
Yeah, I played the game. I beat it in under 10 hours with a 76% completion. And they have like achievements for finishing it like in 100% item collection and fast and ultra fast. I don't know what time frames you need to get those. And then finishing it unlocks a new game plus that where instead of Shantae in her normal outfit, she's more in like a coconut bra hula skirt type of outfit for the entire game. Apparently, it's lower defense and there's another stat changed. I forget what it was. So it's a harder game. Nothing carries over like a traditional game, New Game Plus. So everything has to be reacquired. But if you like Metroidvanias, especially kind of more relaxing ones, I did have game over. It's just not completely brain dead, but it definitely is on the easier side. I heard, I forget which podcast said it, but I think the being on Apple Arcade kind of dumbed it down. I don't want to use that word, but I want to use that word.
Yeah,
a little.
Probably made the controllers a little bit easier, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I didn't play it on the Apple Arcade. I never subscribed to that because the game gives you plenty of ways to heal up. Food's dropping all the time, and you can collect. I think you can collect up to 9 each of 6 different foods, not including potions you can buy. And so I burned through a lot of food in the last levels, but I was still able to do it without any problems.
Nice.
But
cool.
Did you play the other ones before? That's on. Well, I see them on the Switch, and I think they might have been on other systems. But I see Pirate's Curse and Genie Hero as well. Have you played those as well?
I played Pirate's Curse on the 3DS. Didn't finish it. I got near the end game. Okay. I played Half Genie Hero on the Wii U. I think I backed that game. That was a Kickstarter, and I did finish that. And I did play the first 2 games as well. The first one was on the Game Boy Color. The second, which had a virtual console release on the 3DS. Okay. And the second was a DSiWare game initially. I think people generally are saying that Pirate's Curse is the best game.
Okay.
Because it does.
Those 3 are on the Switch. That's what I was wondering. And Metroidvania I'm always liking those type of games. So
yeah, again, I never finished Pirate's Curse because the end got hard. In Pirate's Curse, Shantae loses her magic, so her abilities come from finding pieces of Risky Boots' items. So like her hat helps you float, boots help you jump, or some weird combination of things. And near the end, you've got to juggle items like mid-jump in order to make certain things. And I was not able to do it on the 3DS. Maybe on a better controller, I might have a better luck, and where the screen isn't shaking around as I'm using the controller. But I've never. I've never gone back and tried to play it again.
All right, thanks.
Cool. All right. And again, that was Shantae and the Seven Sirens. Tim, what have you been playing, sir?
Well, like you, I haven't been on for the past 2 weeks, so I got a lot. Should I go through them all?
Uh,
Don't worry, I'll be quick about it.
okay,
So,
major on the majors, minor on the minors.
yes. So I didn't spend a lot of time with a lot of these because it was like a download and play a little bit type of thing on some of these. So I shouldn't be spending too much time on it. But Fortnite had the new season launch. So I downloaded that, played a little bit with my kids. And I do like the new format of how they do things in with Fortnite with some of the tasks that you can do with the challenges and things like that. So I'm looking forward to that. I actually bought the pass for this one because it just seemed interesting. So, but I haven't been able to jump into it a lot more since I bought it and play a little bit of it. So I'm hoping to get into that again. There's just a lot more. I know Nintendo's not been releasing much, but man, there seems like there's a lot still. So, and then I played Klaus, which is something that we have a video out for, and really enjoyed the platforming in that game. And it's spelled Klaus in case anybody's looking for it on the eShop. It's platforming and it's very fourth wall breaking type of game, and basically you're Klaus who falls into this basement of this corporate building, it seems like, and you're trying to traverse your way through it using platforming elements, but he knows there's somebody there helping them, and that somebody is you. And then there's also some bits where he's trying to get some of his memory back because he has amnesia. So just kind of a quick synopsis of that, but again, go check out the video of that if you're interested in seeing what that gameplay was like. It was a first impressions or let's play, one of those. But I liked what I got to play, where the story was going so far in that one. So I hope to get back into that one as well. Star Wars Racer, I downloaded that one and played a lot of that until I actually ran into a problem. What I thought was the game, but it was not. It was not the game causing my Joy-Cons to stop working.
Oh, no.
So that was a very interesting situation where it's again, these are my day one gray controllers I had, and I say had because I've put them to rest. Because what was happening is when I was in the middle of playing that game and ended up being any other game, is the right Joy-Con would just disconnect, would just stop, even though I'm playing handheld mode. It would just
that makes it hard to play.
Working. Yes, right in the middle of a race is when it happened in Star Wars Racer. All of a sudden, my pod, it just goes because the right side is what you use for gas essentially, and I can't. It just started slowing down. I'm like, what's going on? And I thought the reason why I thought it was the game was because it happened immediately when I was done recording some stuff because I was going to try to do a video. I was recording it. And then when I was done recording, I wanted to try to talk. When I was going to do the talking piece about the game, I was going to talk about it how it also wasn't handheld. So what I did was I took my Joy-Cons off and I play it. Whenever I play my Joy-Cons, I take them off my Switch whenever I dock it, because I have these, I try to explain this because this is a podcast, right? Because I know a lot of people can see it, but I have these grips on my Joy-Cons that I can take off once I've got it docked. So they are dockable grips, and then I put it onto a central connection piece so I could still use my Joy-Cons with the grips. The reason why I do that is because I play mostly in handheld, and I prefer keeping the same button layouts and all that kind of stuff with my Joy-Cons for familiarity. And so without switching a lot between, say, a Pro Controller and the Joy-Cons. But anyways, I did that. I was playing with this while I was recording and then wanted to play in handheld. So I took it off of this, put it onto the Switch, and then that's when it stopped working. So I thought it was a glitch with the game. What was that, Jesse? I can't hear you, Jesse.
Oh, yeah, I muted because of typing. So it disconnected while it was physically attached?
Yeah, after I attached it to the Switch and started playing.
I thought it would. When you said disconnected, I thought it was like Bluetooth disconnection.
Yeah, no, this is what that's
Yeah, that's bad.
trying it when it was connected in handheld mode. After I undocked it, connected it that way, just like you see in the videos for why you want to switch, right? I did that so I could try it in handheld mode, and then, I think it was into the second or third lap of the Star Wars Racer track that I was on. That's when it disconnected. I just had to explain that because if anybody was following me on Twitter, I had posted to the developer saying, "Hey, your game just disconnected my Switch Joy-Con." So, but I followed up with that saying, no, "My bad, it wasn't your game." I found out it was other games too that it was happening on. So, anyways, I did end up playing that more because I'm using these Joy-Cons, the yellow ones, and this is what we were talking about earlier, Justin.
Mm-hmm.
When I was talking about buying new ones, I bought these back in October, I think,
Yep.
September, and this was starting to get drift recently.
Wow.
So it's frustrating because you would think that, when you're buying the newer ones that you're hoping that they did something to fix it. But
yeah, I bought the purple and orange ones in October, and recently my purple one I thought had drift. And I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah, see, that's the frustrating part, right? Even John Wall from Megadads, he mentioned it too, that he had Joy-Con drift, and I tried to help him with my video, and he said he tried it, he was still having issues, and he was so frustrated that he felt like he was going to give up on Switch because of the Joy-Cons. Yeah. So that's how frustrated he was with it. But sorry, I got off track here. Let me get back to my list. Ninjala, which is how I like to pronounce it, because I like that. That's what I started with. But if I say Ninjala, I'm going to start saying Ninja la 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 for anybody who used to watch G.I. Joe and
G.I.
all that kind of stuff. So, but Ninjala or Ninjala, I started playing that, but only the single player mode. And I have, for as much as I had fun playing the beta version in multiplayer, I have not had a chance to play the multiplayer yet. Any chance I got to play on my Switch, I was playing other games. So, and I think the other reason why I didn't jump into it is also because my son's Switch Lite, not for drift issues, had to be sent into Nintendo. I just actually got an email saying they're shipping it out. So they actually fixed it pretty quickly, or they're sending him a new one, whichever they do. But anyways, I think that's another reason why I haven't been playing it, because he was the reason why I got into it in the first place.
Yeah. Pre-pandemic, when I set mine in, they were repaired and returned because some of them had like decals on them, and they still had the decals when they were returned.
Okay. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what we get back. But anyways, I think that's the reason why I got it. And Justin, I think you were saying you've been playing it, right?
Yeah, I've been playing it also. I picked up when it launched. Now I did two things. I did pick up the episodes, like the single player campaign, right? And I picked up the battle pass. I typically, when a free to play comes out, I'll pick up the first battle pass and I'll figure out whether I like it or not. Or also, if the battle pass allows you to basically get the next battle pass for free. If they can do that, then I think they have a right model. Which, looking at the Ninjala system, they do have that. Might I add also, Ninjala, they put out posts already since the release. So I mean, we're less than 2 weeks into it. It's been downloaded over 2 million times. The single player, I'm not super grabbed by it. Like it doesn't. I'm like,
same here.
Okay, I'm just running around doing the same actions. And I'm not really good at the multiplayer online. I feel like I am. I've done some tweaking of my gear, my outfits, giving them certain different abilities. And I'm typically coming in 5 or 6. I'm never coming any higher. I've come in a couple times at like 3. I think I came in second once. And I'm on, I think, level tier 10 or tier 11 now, my battle pass. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, if that makes sense. And I'm like, I don't feel like I'm really learning from it, and I feel like I'm just getting destroyed. And now the matches are short, so it's not bad.
Yes.
But I definitely feel like it's
so
I don't think it's going to grab my attention. Like, I'm going to probably play through the episode, finish off that episode 1 or whatever it is. I haven't finished it.
Get your stuff for that.
get my stuff for that, do my battle pass, but that, like I don't know.
You don't know if you're
There's other
configured-
games that have my attention that I can do better at.
I get you. One of the things I'll tell you this, even though I didn't do the multiplayer in the actual release, I did it in the beta, right? I was doing the same thing in the first beta. And I was thankful they did that second beta, because the reason why is I learned something during the first beta, and that was how to use the parry system, which is that left stick, right? You're using the left stick a lot. When you get into a clash with somebody, you use the left stick, and you basically have to, I'm not sure if it's actually doing the opposite of what they do or not the same or the same. I just know that you have to either push down, left, right, or up on the left stick to parry against what the other person is doing. Learning that, plus the bubble gum, being able to use the bubble gum to trap your opponent in multiplayer, and then do damage to that, was also something I had to learn. So between the parry and the bubble gum, learning those two things, going into the second beta, that was my focus. Was like, okay, I'm jumping into the second beta. I'm focusing on making sure I do the parries right and use that gum right. And getting used to that helped me get first place actually in that second beta a couple times.
Okay.
And it was actually fun to get that first place. So
Nice.
because you see your rankings going and all that kind of stuff, and then I got a lot of icons in that. So in that particular one, and that's why I was able to jump to first place, because I got I was tied or actually got the highest amount of icons in there. So
yeah,
or iPhones. So do those two things. If you haven't learned that, try to go into the game and just focus on those. You maybe not get first place the first couple times, but if you see yourself increasing on the leaderboards because you're starting to get used to that left button and the gum, using the gum for your defenses and also to improve on your weapon, I think that is something that will help you a lot.
Okay. Yeah, like and the thing I do like about it, and very much like Splatoon-esque, the matches are short. Do you know what I mean? Like you're like, okay, it's done in 3 minutes. Like, and you can definitely tell there's a lot of inspiration there. But I also find the controls just feel a little bit off for me at times, so maybe I have to do some tweaking my controllers as well.
Could be the weapon too. I don't know what weapon.
Yeah, and I have swapped around some weapons a couple times. Every time I feel like I'm like, oh, this will be a really good weapon, then like the next person just like cracks me, like, yeah, it's apparently not a good weapon for me at all.
The drill was my favorite. That was my favorite.
Yeah. So I'm kind of like forcing myself. I'll be like, okay, I'm going to come in today and I'm going to play like 3 or 4 matches, try and get better, and then bugger off. So, in relation to their monetization model, right? So you've got the single player option, obviously, and then you've got the battle pass. The battle pass thing, I no issues with that. I think that's fine. Right? They have to monetize some way. Again, that's the same price you pay for battle pass in Fortnite. You can earn all the chips or the credits that you need to buy your battle pass next time for free, right? So I think those are all good strategies for free to play games that work really effectively to keep people in. And then I think like the single player campaign part, the fact that it was like $6 to start off with, like that's not bad. I have no issues with that. You should see like what episode 2, episode 3 is, but I will tell you that doesn't grab me. Like I'm like the next time say the single player campaign comes up, I'm not gonna pick it up. I'm just gonna keep doing I'm going to keep using my free battle pass.
Yeah.
And then eventually one time when I don't get free, I'm not going to get the free battle pass next time. I'm just going to keep playing Ninjala online as is. But that's what they want too, right? They do want the monetization model. I think it's different though. It's very interesting. But at the same time,
story mode. Sorry, go ahead.
It's funny because people are like, oh, I can't believe they did this. If you actually think about it, Fortnite did this, but actually in 2 separate ways. Right? You have Fortnite Battle Royale, right, where you can get your battle pass, and that's that. There's also a single-player campaign mode called Save the World, and you can buy that game completely free. It's in the Fortnite universe. They're not interconnected. There isn't like one hub where you said Save the World or Battle Royale.
That version isn't on the Switch yet, though, right?
No, it's not on the Switch yet. I've been wanting it to come. But like that's a great example of like those two things. That's actually the same model that Fortnite's using, and it's fine.
Yeah.
Right now, the other thing I would say though is Fortnite's methodology is it's not chapter based. It's like, hey, it's $20 or $30 whatever for Save the World, and you've got it, and it's a full game. Not like this piecemeal of $5 until you've paid all of a sudden now it's a $60 or $70 game. So yeah.
I almost felt like the maybe why I wasn't grabbing me is because I played the beta, and then the story mode felt like it was a tutorial, basically, like
Yeah, that's a
teaching
good
me how
point.
to do the things and get through the story.
Hmm.
And the story wasn't grabbing me, but it maybe because I was too stuck on, well, it's teaching me all these things I already played and learned in the beta. So I
Yeah.
was getting frustrated and just wanted to keep going and actually, and maybe that's why I need to maybe just back away from it. But I do like the fact that they give you some things that you can use in multiplayer at the end when you know, if you achieve gold and all the I don't know if they were chapters within the chapter or whatever, but um, each level within the chapter or what you got. There's a prologue in chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3 in the season or whatever they call
Yep.
it when you buy it in the story. Um, you get through all of them, and if you get gold or the highest medal, then you get all the extra things that you can apply to your character
Yeah.
in the multiplayer. So I do like that aspect, but I think they need to improve on that a little bit more, especially
Yeah.
when you're paying $6.
Yeah, like financially, I understand what they're doing, and it kind of logically makes sense. But I think when you look at it from the offset, it looks a little bit, huh? Like I think whenever someone says, "Oh, it's a free to play game," it's not a free to play game. They're going to get you somewhere. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's going to happen. Nothing in this world is for free. So
At least it's a way, it's almost like free to play, but it's essentially a demo. If you
mhm.
like it, then you buy into it essentially, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. I don't know how long it'll stay up in my top 10 that I'm playing.
right.
Right, like Fortnite is always like probably number 5, and then I'll play it, and it goes back to number 1, and then I play a couple more games. Like it's always in this like
Yeah.
the 10 cycle. And
Is
I
it going
suspect,
to, if it's going to drop off that front page of your
yeah,
Switch, right?
yeah, exactly. Apex might be the one, like I said before, that will dethrone
That's
Fortnite
always,
for me.
yeah, that'll be number one, I'm sure. As soon that'll be the first thing you see all the time,
Man,
right?
I am just foaming at the mouth for that thing.
So I'll
All
try to
right.
get through the rest of my list here real quick so you can get to
Yeah.
your stuff there, Justin. But obviously, Burnout Paradise, I jump into that whenever I can. So love the game. If I like arcade racers, I'm not into the simulation racing games too much because I love Gran Turismo, but it's too real for me, and so I don't usually play that. I don't get every iteration of that. I'll say that I'll probably get the one for PlayStation 5 when that comes out, but I don't usually get that one. Clubhouse games, of course. Play that, a little bit of that. I'm going to mention this because I downloaded it, but I haven't played it yet. Hopefully, I'll be able to talk about this again sometime, which is Duke Nukem 3D, the World Tour. I actually bought that because it's only, I think it was $15. I think it was.
Yeah, yeah, it's cheap, right? Start off with.
Yeah, it was pretty. Oh no, it wasn't 15. It was cheaper than that. I think I had to have to look. I
It's just
can't see the price
$5.
because I bought it. Yeah, so it's $5, and it's a up-resed, Duke Nukem game, and I grew up on Doom and Duke Nukem, so I was like, I'm buying that. So it looks like crap still, but it's still gonna probably be fun. So I'm looking forward to that. I got the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate update with the character.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't been able to play that yet. I want to try that still. Um, I have been playing and will be doing a video on it soon. I can't talk about much of it, but Catherine Full Body, been playing that. Watch out for the video for that soon. The Ottoman Empire, got a code for that and actually got to play some of that last night when you gave me the code, Justin. Got to play that with my son Sammy, and I have to say, the versus mode is the best part of that game for us. For they have a story mode where you play co-op, and we really didn't get into that too much. We were actually kind of bored with it. You do have to play story mode to unlock some character elements, of course. So that was a little bit frustrating because we just kind of wanted to jump into the game and play. But that game is basically a first person or third person shooter because you're behind them. But or how did they describe it? It's in intense quick fire party shooter with jetpacks set in a world where otters rule.
As they do.
Yes. So I'm gonna be doing a video on that to give more details too. So, but we had a lot of fun with the versus mode. That was where we spent most of our time, and basically it was just doing some objectives to try to get the most points against each other at the same time of killing each other. So
Nice.
each other's otter.
Yeah.
So again, I'll do a video on that, so I'll get more details in there. And then last but not least, tonight and just other nights as well, but Animal Crossing tonight's update. I got to download it before the show and play, do some swimming. I don't know why I posted this, I think, on Twitter, but this just puts a big smile on my face. It makes me so happy, and I don't know why. It's just a simple thing. It's an update. I'm jumping into the water, swimming, but you're collecting new things. A new part of the museum came in, not a new part of the whole museum, but you're collecting more things from the museum. A new part of your checklist or your things that you collect is added, a new tab for the things you collect in the water. It's just, it's to me, this update is a lot better than some of the updates we received, like the wedding one. Maybe it's because of the wedding one was kind of a low for me personally.
Yeah.
And then coming back into this was like, yes. I mean,
Yeah.
I was excited about jumping into the water, but actually doing it was so much fun.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, kind of like for me, like Animal Crossing is kind of like Fortnite, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, shoom, back to 1, right?
Yes.
Like, or it more stays in that like the top 3 or top 5 rotation. Yeah, my kids still love Animal Crossing. I've actually gotten to a point now with my kids. I'm like, so when are you getting your own Switches? Just because they're on mine really constantly. And I was like, no, I'd like to play a game. And they're like, oh, but I want to play Animal Crossing. So
right. Well, take
I'm
it
giving
from
it-
here, Justin. What have you been playing?
right?
You've been
Well,
playing
a little bit of Animal Crossing. Obviously, excited to jump into the patch. Ninjala was a big one. I did get an opportunity to do the download for Smash, and I played as Min Min. And when I watched Sakurai's video, I was like, man, I think I'm really going to like playing as Min Min. And I discovered I really, really suck at playing as Min Min. So I need to figure that out. But I love the character design. I love the just the way that she plays.
Yes.
I've played about 10 matches, and I have struggled
Are
real
you
hard.
struggling with the new control, with being able to control her left and right arm with A and B?
Not so much, just a little bit of like the floatiness of her, a little bit of the distance,
the distance fighting. Okay.
distance fighting, close range, not as well. So I've had to flip. So like my other one that I kind of go with is Link and like Terry, right? So again, kind of closer contact, closer, right? So
Yeah.
Min Min is definitely kind of that wider distance. I find I've had some good success with her times, but I haven't won a match. And I just like jump online and play. So I'm probably also getting destroyed that way. But I love the design, super cool character. Can't wait to see her amiibo, by the way. I think that's gonna look awesome. Super
I can't wait
excited
for
that.
any of these amiibos, especially
Right,
that
yeah.
Joker one.
Banjo as well, man. Oh, it's
Yes.
gonna be
Oh
awesome.
yeah.
So yeah, play a little bit of that. The other game I've been playing, actually, I cannot speak to much because of embargo, but I have got a review copy of Crosscode. Now, for those of you like, why does this sound familiar? Crosscode is that 16-bit SNES style graphics game, and I'll give you just a quick rundown of it. This is off of their eShop. This retro-inspired 2D action RPG might outright surprise you. Crosscode combines 16-bit style, SNES-style graphics with butterly smooth physics, a fast-paced combat system, and engaging puzzle mechanics, served with a gripping sci-fi story. If you're in the eShop, it literally says that this is a 30 to 80 hour game, 7 unique worlds, 120 enemies, 7 expansive dungeons, 90 combat arts, 100 quests, 60 hours or 60 plus music soundtrack. That is Crosscode. Embargo is not up yet, so I can't really speak of it, but I have been playing it. I will speak more of it soon. You'll see more footage on it. But this may be one that you might want to flag. Comes out next week on June 9th. We all know that I'm not a huge RPG fan.
No.
Let's just say that.
No.
Might be a game you might want to flag.
Okay. I'm adding it to the wish list now.
There you
It
go.
sounds intriguing.
Those are the games that I have been playing.
Yeah, when we talked about that game a few weeks ago when it had a release date, I'm like, I thought this was a game I was interested in, but this doesn't look like it. I realized I was thinking of a different game. I was thinking of Chris Tales, which still is
Mm,
still supposed to be coming
yep.
out this year.
Yep.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Justin, you have to give up your game and give it to Jesse so he can.
Right. I was like, no, I think it's probably good. Sometimes I wish we could do that. I was like, no, you have a shot at this one. So let's jump. We're getting long in the tooth here. Let's jump into our community spotlight, shall we? We have got a couple of questions through our community spotlight from Discord. So obviously the amazing folks and supporters of our Nintendo dads, plus a question from Twitter as well and Patreon. So we're going to kind of do like a quick round robin. This is our question answering component of it. Tim, can you kick us off with this great question from John?
Of course. So John, or Zablanc, as a lot of you know him in our Discord, or if you listen to our other podcast and our family podcast, the Dad's After Dark show. He's a co-host there. He sent us a question and said, for each of the dads, name a game to satisfy each of these 4 questions, and no game can be repeated twice. Question 1, what's a game you prefer to play on the Switch than another console? Number 2, what's a game you prefer to play on another console than the Switch? Number 3, what's the game you most want ported to the Switch? And number 4, what's a Switch game you most want ported to another console? So going back to number 1, what's a game you prefer to play on the Switch than another console? I could go first if you guys like, give you guys a chance to think.
Sure.
For my choice for this one, I put Minecraft. It's something about playing the full game on the go, is which I prefer to play this on the Switch, especially because of my kids too. So I had it on my phone, didn't want to play too much there because again, I want a controller. I've played it on PlayStation. I played it on PC. Just again, this is one of those games I like having on the go. And to me, it's impressive to have on the go because I remember when this game came out, it was all PC based. And just to be able to play this on the go or, around the house or whatever, I think Minecraft is my choice as a game I prefer to play on the Switch than any other console.
Jesse, how about you?
So normally, the Switch version is somehow diminished in some way to make it work versus the other consoles. But the game I have in mind, the Switch has the definitive edition. I'm going to say Dragon Quest XI-S.
Cool. Okay.
Because
Okay.
It's a good choice. I like that one.
Yeah, I didn't play it on the PS4. I played it. I held out and waited for the Switch version, but it does have some quality of life improvements, and just more content. It combined content that was in the 3DS version of the game in Japan that we never got here, so we North Americans was able to get that content for the first time.
Cool. My answer is challenging because I only have the Switch as my console, so I have no other reference point. So what's a game I prefer to play on the Switch than any other console? I'm going to say Breath of the Wild. And I think, I remember the first time I had to go on a plane trip and I had Breath of the Wild with me for travel, and it was just how amazing that experience was, literally in the palm of your hands. And I sat there and played the entire trip. And it was amazing.
I can see that. And funny enough is going into question number 2, what's a game you prefer to play on another console than the Switch? I was going to say Breath of the Wild for the Wii U over the Switch. Now that might be shocking to some people, but we actually had both copies because my son didn't have a Switch at the time and he wanted to play Breath of the Wild, so we bought a copy for the Wii U and I had mine for the Switch.
I completely forgot that it was a Wii U game.
The reason why I liked it on the Wii U is because of that second screen. That second screen, man, for when we used it a lot for the DS or for the Wii U, came in handy for a lot of games. And that was one game that I didn't play it over the Switch. I still played the Switch version more, but I would have preferred probably to play it on the Wii U.
They ended up nerfing the second screen in that, right? Didn't they? Or did they still use it?
I think they still had the map on there and being able to. I thought they did.
Because I'm
could've swore
remembering
they
they just blacked it out and it was a single screen game, but I could be wrong.
No, you
They're
might be
really-
right. I thought it was something that you could use. Like I said, I
So-
didn't play enough of it, so
When it
Really
was shown in the Game Awards like 2 years before it launched, it did have Wii U support, second screen support, and that was a big
well, I'm glad I didn't choose that then.
talking point of the game.
Yeah. Really quick, funny story. When I moved to Ireland, I left my Wii U with a friend of mine, and because we left just after Breath of the Wild had released, he's like, "Can I borrow your Wii U while you're gone? And I'm going to buy Breath of the Wild and play it." So he got Breath of the Wild, played it, and when I got back and I got my Wii U back, he's like, "By the way, here's Breath of the Wild for the Wii U. I'm done with it." And I was like, "Cool! I just got Breath of the Wild for the Wii U for free. This is awesome." So
Nice.
It's sitting in my collection. I've never played it on the Wii U, but I have it.
So, the game that I do prefer to play on another console than the Switch I picked was Mortal Kombat 11. I'd rather have, and I made a little note too, I'd rather have the Injustice franchise on the Switch. But
Okay.
yeah, Mortal Kombat 11 I would rather have on, say, the PlayStation 4 than the Switch.
Okay, I like it. Jesse, what about you?
I'm leaning towards the Dragon Quest again. I did play Dragon Quest 2 and the start of Dragon Quest 3 on the Switch, and I don't like their art style that they used. It's so I think I'll say Dragon Quest 3 and say I'd rather have played that on like NES or any other system with the older art style.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to answer this one. It's actually I was struggling with this one, and I just figured it out. I would rather play The Outer Worlds on a console than on the Nintendo Switch.
Gotcha, yes.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
Yep. Although I was going to say,
Have you played that more?
not a whole lot more. Still got about 4 or 5 hours into it.
Okay.
So I'm getting there slowly. Did you see though they are going to put out a patch?
Yes, I did. I got excited for it, so I'm like holding off a little bit.
Yeah, I
before
think
go
I'm
any further.
going to. I may actually stop and just kind of see for now. So
Yeah.
Let's move on to question number 3.
So number 3, what's the game you most want ported to the Switch? And I think anybody who knows me has heard me predict this and hope for it, and prayed for it.
Mario
Metroid
Kart Double
Prime.
Dash.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. Metroid Prime trilogy. I want that ported so bad. And I mean, even a port I'll take. And I've been leaning more recently for a remaster, but I'll take a port. You know, if it's the port of Metroid Prime trilogy and they tweak it so it works on the Switch, great. But a remaster would be even better if they did, even if they did each one leading up to Metroid Prime 4, like this year, Metroid Prime, remaster, the next year, they all stand alone, not a whole trilogy. I would take that too. So,
Yeah.
But yes, that's my ported wish.
Nice. Jesse, what about you?
I'm thinking I'm going to say 2 games because they're kind of related. Like Persona 3 FES and Persona 4 Golden.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yes, those are
the
good
latter
choices.
just got a PC release a few weeks ago, and I would have probably bought them again if they were on Switch, just because I have played PC games in the past and still do on rare occasion, but that's not my go-to system. The Switch is.
Nice.
That's a good choice. I like that one. I would like that one too.
Yeah. Now that my campaign to get Apex Legends on the Switch was successful, you're welcome. My eyes are set on the next target, and that next target is Ori and the Will o' the Wisp, or Ori 2.
Did you see the article on that one?
I did. It broke my heart.
Yeah, they're like, we don't think we can do it.
I know. It hurts so much.
Yes. Well, who knows? Maybe when they get Unreal 5 engine over, maybe that'll help.
Yeah.
We'll see.
All
All right,
what's
so
our next
number
question?
4. What's a Switch game you most want ported to another console? I picked Breath of the Wild because I think it looked great on the Switch, but I can only imagine how much more beautiful it would look on a more powerful console.
Teraflops and SSDs.
Yes. Yes, exactly. But that one is just, I think it would be really cool. It'd be one of those things like we've seen Xbox do, right? Where they have their game and they've had it on their system for a couple of years, and then they say, here you go, Switch, here you can have it, type of thing. Where I think Nintendo, if they did it, and I don't think they would, but I would never say never, I guess, because we've seen some stranger things that happen. But maybe Nintendo could turn around and say, okay, Breath of the Wild has been out for 3 years. Maybe when 2 comes out, they say, hey, Xbox and PlayStation, we would like to put Breath of the Wild on your system. And so I think that would be really cool if they did something like that. That would be a cool port to see.
Yeah, see what you got.
Still thinking on this one. I'll let you go first if you have an answer. Well, I think.
So this is solely about the idea of getting more people into the game. I am going to say Mario Kart 8 or whatever the latest greatest Mario Kart is, or Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Oh, interesting.
And so my idea there is, if it's available on more platforms, it's a multiplayer online game. More people will play it. So you're kind of just growing that community, right? As opposed to creating a singular experience. And then my thought there, and this is like Justin Crazy Talk, crossplay.
Yes.
Right. So awesome. You got a PlayStation and you're playing Mario Kart. Awesome. I can play against you. Right. I think so then I could play with all those friends who do have other platforms.
You remember?
So I'm being selfish for myself.
You remember when they did I think it was Soul Calibur, where each system that had it, I think it was back in GameCube. I forget which version was it. 4.
Yeah.
Each version had their
2. Well, yeah.
Okay.
You're thinking of 2.
Each version. Okay.
4 did, which was on 360 and PS3, not on any Nintendo system. Did also the same thing.
Okay.
But yeah,
so
Link was
on one of the GameCube version, and then PlayStation had their special character, and Xbox had their special character. So I was seeing when you were mentioning that, I could see that happening with Super Smash Bros. How we all were talking about. I think even Roger was guaranteeing that the Halo guy was going to be on the Ultimate, but that would be something where I could see that happening if they did share that game with the other systems, where we're going to put Ultimate on Xbox, and when you get it on Xbox, you can use the Halo guy, I forget his name, but
Master Chief.
Master Chief,
thank you. Master Chief on that version, and then for the PlayStation version, I would like to see Kratos. I think that would be cool. So it would be Kratos for that. So I could, and maybe even Mario Kart. You could put the Little Big Planet thing, Sackboy. Yep, on that one, because they did have a kart game for that, which was pretty fun actually.
Yeah.
Because I had it on the PS3. And then whatever Xbox One, I think would be cool too. So yeah, I think that would be awesome.
I like it.
Jesse.
Great questions. Oh yeah, Jesse, sorry.
Pick.
Yeah, I was kind of along the same lines of what Tim said about Breath of the Wild. I think the same would apply to Super Mario Odyssey. It's just getting putting that on a more powerful system that would let you have more detailed textures, and like the one thing I didn't like about what they did is in some of those bonus levels, like I don't even know how to describe it. Like some of the textures they used for the walls just looked like something that came out of a 3D printer, and I would have liked to see a little bit more detail in it other than just plain. So I think
that would be something else. That
in 4K, that could make it really look like a 3D printer. Put little scan lines in there.
Yeah. That would be something else, to have what everybody deems Mario games as the number one platforming type game on another console. That would be something else to see on a powerful system like PlayStation or Xbox. Good choices, guys. You want me to read the next question, Justin?
Do it.
All right. I'll go into the one from Blockfort or Dan, who's again part of the Dad Crossing crew. Uh, Pretty much every other game publisher drops the price of their games significantly after the initial release. I'm seeing games like Kingdom Hearts 3 at GameStop already down to $20. Persona 5 Royale is $40. And while some games maintain the $60 price tag for a while longer, we all know that The Last of Us 2 and FF7 Remake will all be in the bargain bin soon enough. Then there's Nintendo. Breath of the Wild still has an MSRP of $60. That game, 3.5 years old. Even some Wii U games are still sitting at the $40 mark. Why do you think other publishers are willing to discount their games, where Nintendo is bent on maintaining value as long as possible? I actually prefer Nintendo's way as an early adopter of Nintendo stuff, if it makes me feel like Nintendo respects its products more. But basically, the question, again, why do you think other publishers are so willing to discount their games where Nintendo is bent on maintaining value as long as possible?
All right. I have an answer that I don't know if it's the right answer or not, but a theory. Justin, do you have your thoughts?
I'll let you go first because
Okay.
typically I overtalk.
I don't think it's the publisher. I think it's the merchants, because they're most of the time, after the first 2 or 3 weeks, the games don't sell, so they want to get it off the shelves, and they'll take whatever loss at that point just to get it out of their inventory. Says I looked at Persona 5 Royale on if you it's still $60 buying it digital. So the original Persona 5 is on $20 discount. Like similar to what Nintendo used to do when they drop their prices down to $20 and market player's choice or something. But so that's why I don't think it's the publisher. I think it's the stores themselves, because they have finite shelf space. They need to lose games that don't sell anymore to put new games out there that will. And Nintendo games are fewer in quantity, and especially Nintendo published games, and they have a long tail, so they'll continue to sell, which is why there's no reason to lower those prices, because they know they will sell in time.
Yeah, I would agree with that, right? It's thing, especially a brick and mortar thing. Nintendo is very good, for good or for not, at understanding the value of their IP, and to not diminish that. And they know the financial impact of that. And a little bit of this actually, I think, kind of trickles into our conversation last week regarding mobile and why Nintendo's maybe not as happy with that, right? If you can put out a $10 Mario game versus an $80 Mario game, what does that say about Mario, right? So they're so cautious, and they're so aware of the value of their IP that if you discount it, right, if you give it a low cut, then it says something about the quality of it, potentially the product, right? Or the value of that. And again, I think when you think of it, Nintendo is always very high on their quality. They've always had that Nintendo seal of quality kind of stance, both physically on the box, but I think also as kind of a cultural ethos for their corporate culture for a long time, right? It's so rare that Nintendo will do that. We'll say, no, we're going to cut this price. We're going to cut this price. Even nowadays, when we do see those, like, oh, it's on discount, it's like 15% off. It's 20. It's not a deep cut, but it's enough where they're like, yeah, I feel like that's okay. So I think it's just their awareness of their brand, and I think their unwillingness to change on that, and because they believe that their quality is so high, right? Whether you buy Super Mario Odyssey the day it releases or Super Mario Odyssey 2 months later or 2 years later, guess what? It's still just as good. Do you know what I mean? So why change those things? So if you're a consumer trying to save dollars, it's not really going to help, right? Especially if it's Nintendo first party. But then you think of something, great example, if I would flip that coin, is you think of Ubisoft, and specifically Mario and Rabbids. Now there's Ubisoft using a Mario IP, and they got the rights to do that, but then you see it get deeply, deeply cut down to, like, with the DLC pack, it's something like almost an 80% cut. Do you know what I mean? Now Nintendo's not the one saying we're going to cut that. That's the publisher at that side or the developer at that side saying we're going to cut that.
And that's
So it's
the
also
digital version too.
It's digital version as well. So it depends on kind of where those decisions are made. 100% agree with Jesse in relation to like the brick and mortar. I remember when Amiibo Festival Animal Crossing came out, and like you could go into the EB Games here and it was like $5. And I can tell you, Nintendo was not like, no, that's cool. You sell that for $5. EB Games was like, we need to get this off our shelves. And
Nintendo
make
still
space.
got their asking price wholesale.
Correct.
You know, the stores took the loss.
Yeah, exactly. So,
and
Yes.
kind of a side news item based, similar to this. The rumor is PS5, Xbox Series X games would retail at $70,
yep, I've heard that.
and while Switch games will maintain 60 through its generation.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens next, in a post-Switch world, but that might help Switch versions of games sell more if there is, multi-console releases. Similar with back in the Wii. Wii games were no more than 50, and 360 PS3s were started with the 60 price tags.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Great question. Tim, what else you got for us?
The next question comes from Twitter, from Tugo Bap. And he says, I have Wind Waker on the Wii U. I have been waiting to play it, waiting for the Switch version. But I think I will wait a long time. Thoughts? And P.S. he says, Dad's After Dark is the evil stepsister podcast. Mic drop.
100% true to that. Right? We love the guys over at Dad's After Dark, by the way. They are absolutely fantastic. And yes, they are part of the Nintendo Dads Network, podcast network of shows, including Dad Crossing, The Dinner Table, Dad's After Dark, and what we were calling the OG show, the original show, this one as well. You're just start playing Wind Waker on the Wii U.
Yeah.
All right,
I would like
play it. So
I would like for it to be on released on the Switch as well. I don't think it's going to get any updates. It will just be a flat port with maybe something small added, but not worth paying another $60 for it.
Do you think they're actually doing one, Jesse?
I didn't say I think they are. I said I think
that was my question to you.
I would like to see it. I think in their port history, I think Twilight Princess and Wind Waker are viable ports to Switch.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think so.
Just to get more things off of Wii U only.
Well, but it wasn't a Wii U only, right? It was a GameCube game.
Well, the HD versions is
Correct.
Wii U only. That's what I'm referring to.
I'm going to be very much like you on this one as well. I got the Wind Waker on the Wii U. I had never played it till I got the Wii U. And I got it in like some crazy deal. I can't remember, like it was some kind of like, hey, you buy 2 games for the price of 1 or whatever. I've got it digitally, and man, so happy I do. So yeah, play it. Play Wind Waker. Such an interesting game, because it is such a counter to Majora's Mask, which was the game before Wind Waker. Right? You had Ocarina, you had Majora's Mask, and Majora's Mask was very different than Ocarina because of the dark tones, right? Because of the almost horror-esque elements of it, to then, like, literally the next game be this at sea, sunny, cell-shaded graphics, right? Like, just a very shift again, right? And then you go to, like, Twilight Princess. That's a different shift as well. It's so fascinating.
Yeah, I did play the GameCube version of the Wind Waker, and then played it again and finished it on the Wii U. I did play the Wii version of Twilight Princess. I bought the Wii U version and never got around to playing that, because I just finished a replay of the Wii version months before they announced it, and I bought it and never played it again. So I might break out and play it again. Of course, then they'll announce the Switch version as soon as I finish the Wii version, and then I won't want to play it again.
So
for another 4 years.
For me, it's close to what I've been wanting, which is I have the Metroid Prime Trilogy digital version on the Wii U. I haven't replayed it, or at some point I didn't replay it because I was hoping that the rumors were true that the Switch version of it would come out and I would replay it there. But since I've been waiting, I actually went ahead and started playing on the Wii U. When we had it connected to the TV, I started playing it again. But maybe this will happen to Go Bap as well. Go ahead and start playing it. See how it feels. See if you still want to keep playing it. And if you do, just keep playing it. Because what happened for me is when I started playing the Metroid Prime trilogy, or Metroid Prime first, on the Wii U, it was like, after playing Switch so much and trying to go back to the Wii U, I was just like, I can't do it. I was trying to play it. I was doing the whole, using the Wii mote and the nunchuck, trying to do that whole thing, because I thought, going back to the original way to play, I would have fun with it again. But it was like, man, I can't do it. I want to wait for the Switch version. So for me, I just put it down. I stopped playing it, and I'm waiting for the Switch version if it ever comes true. Yeah. So if I wait a long time, I wait a long time. If it never comes, it never comes. So I got other things to play anyway. So see what happens. Go ahead and start playing it. And if you just play through it, then you saved yourself some money and probably won't have to buy the Switch version anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. Greid we
everything I got?
Questions?
That's it.
We got? Okay. Awesome. Tim, anything on our Patreon questions from Marty's question? Let's just double check on that.
All right,
Jesse, how you doing over there?
I'm doing okay.
Good. Let's just take a quick look at the chat here. Lots of people jumping in. Thank you very much. Again, I see Nintendo Ninja News. Great to see you here. Super to fast. Awesome. Thank you for contributing. Mecha Dragon 101. Always awesome to see you here. Watson Bobby 32. Thank you so much for being here. Saw Sean Capri was with us earlier as well. Jay Harley, thank you so much for being here. So great. Awesome. Thank you guys. You guys are just fantastic for being here and being active and present in our chat. We greatly appreciate this all the time. We just Video Game Guru 64. Such a great chat. Such a great participation. Tim, questions?
Right. So a lot of comments about what we were voting on, which again, we touched on some of these. Dan, again, was mentioning about his prediction of no General Directs anymore, which we touched on.
Yep.
Chris was mentioning the Shakedown Hawaii thing coming to Wii and Wii U. We talked about that. Did we just get out of a DeLorean from what John was talking about? Apparently, some sort of, probably in regards to the Shakedown Hawaii or something.
Yep.
And then Ibusel actually has a question here, and it says, pretend it's the year 2030. So 10 years from now.
Yep.
Tell me, what has Nintendo been up to?
Sure. Yeah, I'll jump that one. Nintendo has diversified their portfolio even more so from an economics perspective. The Super Nintendo World has opened successfully at several locations across the world, their theme park, and including 2 or 3 in the US, 2 in Europe, and 1 in Japan. They have a Netflix series, The Legend of Zelda, and a Metroid series, which was recently announced. Boy, is it fantastic. And also, have you seen Super Mario 2 is hitting the movie theaters, coming out very, very soon. Of course, this is also on the back of the fact they've had success with the Switch 3, which is continuing their methodology, but right now is dominating the entire video game console market, is destroying the PlayStation 6 and the Xbox Big Mac. It is just destroying all of it, and they are winning every single console battle. As a matter of fact, they've actually acquired the bought Sony and is making them do their own games. So I think they're doing well. I think they're doing very, very well, and that's how it's gonna go.
Wow. I wish I had that type of imagination.
Gentlemen, anything you want to add there?
Wow. Did you mention anything about the cloud? I think,
Oh, no. I also didn't mention their mobile markets, their whole strategy yet. I haven't done that because, it's also, by the way, in 2030, they still haven't figured out voice chat. Let's just be honest, right? That they still haven't got that done yet.
Did they get online figured out yet?
What? Of course not. Of course not. Why would they?
That all makes sense. I don't know if I can come up with anything, but I mean, I guess I could dream a little bit and say that yes, they figured out cloud, and they, instead of coming out with new games on mobile, they come out with their own mobile app where you can play their games on phones through their mobile app and use the Switch 3 controllers to play either on the tablet or with your phone.
I like it.
That needs iOS 24 installed.
Yes.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. Good questions, guys.
Great
Thank
question.
you so much. All right, folks, ladies and gentlemen, is that it? I think that's it.
All I can see.
That is a wrap. That is the end, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 287. Of course, as we're rolling out here, you know the routine. Big thanks to our Patreon producers, Chris Mears, David Ernsberg, Sean Abbott, and Antonio Contrario. Of course, if you want to check out all the amazing stuff that Nintendo Dads does, head over to our website, nintendodads.org. You can see our videos, you can see our blog posts, you can see our tweets, you can see our podcasts. You can get our merch there. You can find out information about the hosts. It is our landing page 101, everything Nintendo Dads orientated. Tim and Jesse did an absolutely fantastic job bringing that all together. It is wonderful. Make sure you do that. Of course, if you want to check out all of our latest social media posts, we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We are on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. We are putting out videos daily. You need to check these videos out. There is some great Let's Plays, there's some opinion pieces, there's some unboxings. There is a ton of content. Make sure you do that. And of course, if you have Amazon Prime, you have Twitch Prime, we would love your subscription because that helps us pay the bills and keep the lights going. Folks, that is it. That is all. I will be remiss if I didn't say we are on all the major podcasting platforms. So that is it's iTunes, Castbox, Stitcher, Google Play, or Spotify. While you're there, I'd love a 4-star, maybe 5-star review. If it's under 3 stars, go to Megadads. All right, go to Megadads and start rating them 3-star reviews. None of that stuff here. All right, only positive things. Be good to each other, that kind of stuff. All right. If you want to send us an email, head over to nintendodads@gmail.com. Send us an email. We would love to read it on the show. And, of course, you can leave us a voicemail. It's 929-25-NDADS or 929-256-3237. Big thanks to OC Remix and, of course, Carter Johnson and Adam Leonard for the amazing artwork that you see and hear throughout the entire show. For myself, for Jesse, for Tim, be good to each other, take care of yourselves, and be a little bit better every day. Thanks for listening to Nintendo Dads. Bye-bye.
Take you later.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.
Please understand.
Maple syrup mousses.